hopping and a bopping and a singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, 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 rockin' robin, tweet.
When you come to Head Start,
Rockin' robin.
it's such an inconspicuous entrance with a little sign that says Head Start entrance. But what it does is it allows children to enter into their futures by use of everything possible to stimulate the imagination of a child. A young child who may otherwise be at home watching Sesame Street can now interact three-dimensionally with wonderful people in an atmosphere that does nothing but inspire the mind of a child. This is right here in Newport, and what you're going to meet today is a group of people who make things happen for children, preparing them for kindergarten and things beyond. Because by stimulating a child's curiosity and love of learning at a young age, you get a whole lot of grown-ups who still learn. I'd like to be 3 again, to have this experience. I love it. And the special people who work here will be introduced to you on this show. The minute I walked in, I wanted to come back to just to this age where you could dream and realize the possibilities on a daily basis just by bright colors and little tiny chairs and little nooks and crannies where you could read wonderful books or play, and each learning experience, you can't beat it. What an opportunity for so many children. And here in the kingdom, where opportunities must be self-made, this is a great kickstart to a lot of children who otherwise wouldn't have this sort of access to so many fun things. So enjoy the show, and we'll talk to everyone. Welcome to Life is Good. I'm Heather McKeown, your ever-loving hostess, and guess where we're filming today? We're filming at Head Start, right here in Newport, presently on Carron Street in the old teddy bear factory, but about to move into a brand new facility. And who do I have with me here? But Chelsey, Carron.
Yes, so I'm Chelsey, Carron. I am the co-center manager here, and we are getting ready to move. We're going to be here for about 2 more months.
And we're filming just before Halloween.
That's right, just before Halloween. And we will be moving into our new space for the beginning of January.
Where will it be?
We are going to be going into the old RDI building. So right now it is under construction to put in a couple of classrooms for us and just make it more user-friendly, because it was a factory and it was huge.
I came into here, and as you saw at the beginning of the intro, I filmed all around this place, and I barely touched. This was under the table. I love elementary school. I'm going to go home and listen to my tapes. Anyway, thank you.
That's great.
It's so amazing. And I'll get the gum under here. No, what was I saying? Oh, yes, you're going to RDI. At least I can spell that. But when I came in here, I was fascinated because it's so perfect for little ones. Everything is tiny.
Yep.
And you've got little stoves for the boys and girls and everything else that's going on. And you can't help but learn. Just
it is
visually exciting.
It is great. We've just outgrown this space. And
how many children do you have?
So currently we have 15, but we are licensed to have 30. We typically have 2 classrooms, and right now, because we're in a transition period, we have just 1 classroom.
This is just one classroom?
This is just 1 classroom.
This is enormous.
Yes, it is.
You could fit my whole house in here.
I know.
It's amazing.
And so right now, seeing we are transitioning, we have just gone down to 1 classroom. But come the beginning of the year, we will be going back to 2 classrooms, and each of our classrooms have 15 kids in them. So we have 4 teaching staff in each classroom with up to 15 kids.
What are the qualifications to be a teacher at Head Start?
So we have licensed teachers, so they have their education license. And then we have co-teachers and teaching assistants, and they all have some sort of education in early ed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what I like also is that I read some history about Head Start, and we had it very popular. It was popular over in Franklin County, where I lived for 3 decades plus.
Yes.
And it's generated to a certain age group, 3 and 4,
Correct.
with a certain financial need.
Correct.
But have you ever turned anyone away?
So there are times where we have to put people on a wait list because we are income eligible. So if you don't meet that income criteria, we do get so many allotted spots for over income.
And do they have to pay, or is it still
Nope,
free?
this is a free program. And so if they are over income, if we don't have those allotted spots, they get put on a wait list. And then if we have something that opens throughout the program year, the families will be notified and they can choose to enroll at that point or...
As it is income generated, do you have a bus that picks up the children?
We do not. So
is that something you'd like?
I think it may be something that we would look into in the future. It is a huge expense, and we are grant funded, and so that would just be a huge amount of money from our grant to go into having busing and all of the costs that are associated with having transportation.
Okay. I'm just saying, you know, there's so many children involved in the new office that you have. You say you have an allotment for 30. Will the new RDI building, which is over by the hospital, folks in Newport, just off Prouty Drive.
Yeah, it's on Lakemont Street.
And Lakemont, and it's quite a huge place. So
It
do you
is
think
huge.
you could get a grant for 60 or 100 children?
At this point, no, we're not looking at going that route. We're looking at continuing to have just the 2 classrooms. We were in a different part of this building last year, and at that point we had 2 classrooms. The building, the RDA building that we're moving to was not ready, so we transitioned into this room as a temporary space. So that's why we went from 2 classrooms down to 1 for right now, and then we'll be going back to 2. So this is just a very temporary kind of jump from where we were to where we're going.
You know, I'll tell you something. My kindergarten class, when I walked in, it sort of reminded me of that, but ours was with Mrs. Dumas and Mrs. Bryant in the basement of the United Church on Springfield Avenue in a Canadian town. And it was like, I walked in and I remember they tried so hard to make it like this. And I haven't seen it since. So it was it pulled at my heartstrings when I came in here. And you and Zachary are doing a wonderful job. We're going to be talking to Zachary Spooner shortly. But busy man, very busy man. And you went to elementary school together.
We did.
Tell me a little bit about what you two were like when you were little ones.
So Zach and I, we did grow up together. We grew up in Coventry. So we went to elementary school together. And it's kind of funny how, you know, our lives had kind of drifted apart as friends. He went to Lake Region and I had gone to North Country. And then our paths recrossed when we both applied for the 2 Open Co center manager positions. And so now we're working together, and we started.
And you both got new babies.
Yes, we both started this journey together in March. So.
Well, I'm really happy for that. And if you had an ambition, a wish list, a magic wand, what would you do for Head Start right now?
I think just bringing them, because we are income-based, so a majority of our families that we serve are poverty-driven. I think the big thing would be, you know, helping those families gain more so that they're more comfortable in life, getting them, you know, whether it's food or more clothing and just those additional resources that we're already, helping them with, but being able to, make sure that they're able to succeed. And that is the purpose of Head Start, is to give them that Head Start to better the lives of themselves and their families and their children. And it's so impactful for what we do for these families. I was a Head Start parent. My daughter graduated from preschool 2 years ago, and the relationships that we created, not only with the staff but with the families that are involved in the program, were life-changing. These are some of my
Not just the
daughters.
children's life, but your life.
Absolutely. These are some of my daughter's best friends. She's gone to the same schools since she transitioned out of preschool. And when we do birthday parties or anything like that, the friends that she asks for are her Head Start friends.
That's nice.
And, my spouse and I, we've created friendships with these parents.
Are the parents progressing through life as you are, for the most part?
Yes, I would say, that a lot of them, they've really been able to, get that jump start and, see that there is so much potential out there. And by having maybe a cheerleader, they may not have somebody that's helping them see that light or
Get over the hump.
yeah, get out of that dark space if that's where they're at.
It's really hard to be a brand new young parent in a rural community anywhere in this country.
Absolutely.
And not everyone, how many people do we know who are really financially stable at a very young age with a new family?
Right.
Those are blessings. And to have somebody as a bridge to their future.
Yep.
Well, you can look at Head Start for that program.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
Give me a hug.
Thank you.
You're so wonderful.
No, thank you. Thank you.
If I have any more babies, I want them here.
Well, please send them our way. We
Well,
would love to take them.
I am an optimist. To dream the impossible dream.
Thank you.
Miss Chelsey Carron. I barely could stand up there. I'll show you the chair, everybody. That is the most awesome piece of furniture I've ever had under my bottom. Anyway, now we're going to introduce whoever wants to come on next. Okay, we're back. This is part 2 with 3 more people of Life is Good. Here we have Zachary Spooner and Kuhns. And we have Miss Carron back with us because she just loved it so much. So here, more to talk about Head Start.
I'm the other center manager with Chelsey, and Kama is our practice-based coach, so she mentors the teachers and previous Head Start teacher. I think you two are both Head Start parents.
I was a Head Start student.
Head Start student.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good memories.
You're so young.
Well, your goals with this, Zach, I mean, you're new at the job. You both came in this calendar year.
Yes.
March 2023.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
what changes have you made so far?
Well, I mean, I guess for the first, Chelsey came in a little bit before I did. I think probably
A week.
Just a week. So
Experience counts, Zachary.
I spent, but still, Chelsey was part of NEK-TV, which is our umbrella program, and part of Head Start. She had another position within Head Start. So I spent a lot of time just learning from Chelsey because I wasn't really in this field at all.
What were you doing before?
I was working in mental health. Mental health, yeah. And so I spent a lot of time just learning from Chelsey and following Chelsey around, and and so since then it's been just getting the program, I think, back to a place where they feel like they have support here, because they went a long time without having any, I guess not a long time, but they went a time without having consistent leadership here at the building. And so I think a lot of different needs, weren't being met. And then so I think that since we've been able to fill that, it's kind of trickles down to the services that we provide, providing more complete services to the families, You know, and
There's also been a lot of new rules that have been put into place in the last couple of years to really kind of support the families as a whole, to support the staff as a whole. We now have a family service partner that we can refer our families to access outside agencies and services.
Is that what you were talking about? Getting extra help for the family?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they hadn't been to Head Start, they would not be directed in those areas.
Yes.
So that's food and shelter and
housing,
clothing.
Housing,
Education.
all kinds, so many things.
education, well, and then there's also like parent support groups and play groups. There's the Early Head Start that has just a whole nother plethora of support for families and children from, parents prenatal to age 3 before they can transition into the classroom. It's kind of a wraparound.
It's like, the family support is probably the biggest thing that separates Head Start from typical preschool, like public preschool.
Because if you don't know what's out there, you don't even ask the questions. I don't know what's available
Right.
to these young people.
Yep. And so, once we build those relationships with them and, they identify areas that they need help with.
And you have the
or
right questions.
goals that they have, we're able to support them. So it's not just about their child being in this program and getting an education. It's also about, supporting those families and giving them, like we had talked about in the first segment, that head start to, boost them and get them to that next, phase in their life.
And, our connection to NECA kind of, fast tracks a lot of the services that we can offer them, because if someone needs housing, we have housing people that work for NECA, so we can just send them over, and but it's also, a lot of this, you also don't lose out on any of the services that you get when you are part of the district, because we are part of the school district, and so we access speech and special education services through the school district.
Like speech pathologists?
Yes.
Do you know any good ones?
I do. I know some. I know one. Yeah.
Now this happens to be a proud product of one of my wonderful close friends here in Newport, who has just recently married and moved to Norton. But I'll forgive her for that.
Yes.
But this is Lisa Spooner's son,
Yes.
Zachary, and Lisa Spooner has raised a very nice family.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and now you have me as a neighbor now that she vacated her house.
I know. Now you're just watching it and put it for sale. So oh God, we live.
No, we're not going. No.
That's so nice.
No.
See, it is a community around here that you know a lot of the people who come to you. You've known them for many years, and now you're getting to know their children. Yep. So you have a list of things to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna mention, we're income based, so our eligibility is based on need. If someone was interested in Head Start, we would want them to do an application or call, and then we could talk about whether or not they're eligible based on their income. If they weren't, we do have a certain amount of over income spots that we, it's just harder to get in. Sometimes it takes some time. So
is it a year-round problem? Do you have school year-round?
We follow the calendar that the other public schools follow.
Pretty closely.
Yeah. So
we are off during the summertime, so we are off for about eight-ish weeks.
About
or so.
8 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we're enrolled for 175 days a year.
Yes, something like that.
We have room for up to 30 kids, 2 classrooms here at Newport. We are going to be, right now, as you saw, we're just in this kind of giant classroom. We're going to be moving to
RDI,
the
Good,
old
because
RDI.
I can spell it.
Yeah, the old RDI building on Lakemont. And so once we're there, we're going to have a lot more space, and we're going to have 2 separate classrooms. We're really hoping to enroll a lot more kids. Right now, I think we're at about
15,
yeah. So, and so the other part about eligibility is as soon as they turn 3, they're eligible for Head Start.
So they don't have to wait for the following school year.
Right, for public school.
Pardon?
Yeah.
So they don't have to wait for the following school year.
Okay, very
so
good.
Preschool and the public school, I think most of them are 2 hours a day, but we do 6 hours a day, and the children, as soon as they turn 3, the day after they turn 3, they can start our program instead of having to wait for the following September.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Yeah, so that's a big thing. We've had some 3-year-olds that have just been starting.
And we have a couple that will be starting based off from their age that are on our wait list. So the families did an application with us. We identified that they were income eligible, and they will then start after they have reached 3.
Do you know offhand what a household must earn in order to apply?
We do. We can give you.
Yeah, we know that like if you have SNAP benefits or if you have like reach up services, that you're automatically eligible. So anyone who gets like EBT benefits.
If you're classified as being homeless,
Right.
and that is, maybe you live
Couch
with
surfing.
your family, and that would identify you as being homeless, you automatically qualify. If you are, if you have
Foster
foster children, they would automatically qualify.
And you said couch surfing, and your mom and I have talked about people living in the Walmart
Yes.
shopping
and-
center
right.
parking lot, and I was appalled to hear that.
Yeah, it's like, I think it happens around here a lot more than people would think, but, so yeah, that, and it doesn't even have to be that, like she said, like if you are just like, can't afford to have your own place and you're staying with a friend, that would make you eligible, because
That is so good.
that, and of course, anyone who is eligible, it's free, there's no charge for, Head Start services,
And it's always worth, filling out an application, so that way we can touch base with them, see if they qualify, and if they don't, like I had said in the first part, we can put them on a wait list and, still be available to that family. They may not be in our program, but,
right.
You see this come up, folks, put your little
Camera?
phone or
Yep, just turn on your
Yeah.
camera and it will
It'll
bring
like
you to
ask
the
you
link and
a few
you can just open it.
questions, you fill it out, send it, and then Chelsey or I will get it.
Yeah, and I've got more questions for you, young lady. You are a mentor. What are the teachers in need of here? How do you, if they're already qualified and everything like that, what do you do?
Well, we do have licensed teachers, and then we also have teachers that come in and they start as, say, a TA or a teacher assistant. I think everyone has a large amount of education, but we kind of really work on fine-tuning that and having the people be their best selves. So it's not always easy to see what goals you might have, or sometimes you have a goal but you're not quite sure how to get there and you don't have the time to research, like, oh, what classes can I take? I kind of get to help with supporting the staff.
And CCV has some wonderful courses for
They
these
do,
people.
Yeah.
they do.
CCV, if you earn, I believe, less than $65,000 a year, you get in for free.
Yeah, for the Northern Lights.
And Head Start's great at making sure our staff has tons of extra.
Yeah.
They are so big on education and
Wellness,
growth,
yeah.
and growth from their staff. That it's never really even a thought. They actually help pay for their staff to go back to college if that's something that they want to do and stuff.
Yeah, and there was something I was going to ask you too about, as you helped with health in this before you took on the co-coordinator, what were your jobs, well, what were the functions of taking care of the children's health? Inoculations and things?
So we would do making sure that children are up to date on their dentals, dental exams, well child exams. If there's any medical conditions, making sure that they're having that regular ongoing care, immunizations.
Yep.
During the program year, we check their hearing and vision. And then the nutritionist, she will do their heights and weights.
Do you know, this is better than anything I've heard at any public school.
Yeah,
We agree.
we do a lot of screenings. We do developmental screenings.
Speech.
Yeah,
Yep,
speech.
if
I mean,
there's
if
any-
there's a referral, if
Yep.
someone observes, yeah.
A lot of our staff are pretty well trained to notice if there's any delays or needs, because before the age of 5, it's a much smaller deficit to be able to access those services, where once you get into public school, you need a larger deficit to be able to access services to support improving on those skills. So we do a lot of different screenings, developmental, behavioral.
This should not be just for,
And-
this should be for every child in
It
America.
should be. I 100%
Absolutely.
agree.
Yeah,
And I'm sure, yeah, and like I think obviously the public schools do this in their own way as well. I think that we have another big difference is the ratio. We are staffed to have 4 4
we have
teachers
four
and staff
four
per
staff
room,
per
so
room.
the teacher to student ratio is a little bit
Very good.
different.
So,
And how about behavioral problems? When you get into public school, the teachers barely have time to teach because there's so many behavioral problems.
Yeah.
And when I got in trouble at home, and your Aunt Kathy and I talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
If I got in trouble at school, I was in big trouble at home. And nowadays, not generalizing, but yes I am, if a child gets in trouble at school, mommy and daddy who are working
Right.
say little Johnny or little Kathy couldn't do anything wrong. No. You must
Wow.
be wrong, teacher. And they don't get the backup of the triangulation of
Yeah.
problems here. Teacher, parent, student.
Right. I think it starts with like the staff here developing like relationships, trusting relationships with the parents.
What a wonderful thing.
So
And
that
so
we-
when
And the
those parents
children.
get
and the children.
fabulous. And you know what? When those parents have their children enrolled in public school thereafter, they are going to be the ones who follow their children through school with the
Right.
teacher. And
Right.
instead of the separation of my child is better and he wouldn't do that,
Right.
it'll be a collaboration and it will benefit those children. So I'd say that
Right.
kids in Head Start probably have not just a head start academically, but
Right.
in every possible way. And this
Yeah.
is thrilling for
A
me.
literal head start. Yeah.
Yes.
We have a couple events coming up. We
Yeah,
have
like
a.
what?
Is it trunk or?
Yeah, we're doing a trunk
Trunk
or
or
treat
treat.
next Monday.
Okay, this is now the week of.
So the week of Halloween, so it would be October 30th, and it is from 3:30 to 4:30 right here, which is 34 Farrant Street.
I couldn't see the number, but it's
Farrant
the,
Street.
the first.
Not the NEK building.
This yeah right.
Farrant Street.
It's on the second big building on your right when you get onto Farrant Street off Lake Street here in Newport.
The old teddy bear factory.
Yep.
The old teddy bear factory, which I didn't know was here either, as I stood outside freezing my little tail off.
Yeah.
I was at 10 Main Street.
I was like, yeah, I'm at the door.
I'm at the door. What door?
Oh, do we want to talk about parent committee at all?
Let's talk about parent committee.
Parent
I'd love
committee.
to. I live
The
for
perfect
it.
person to talk about that would be one of these two.
I just think that it's one of the big things that I appreciate is that we have a lot of the functionality is kind of governed by the community. So instead of this overarching federal whatever to make all the rules, we have a policy council and we have parent committee, and it is exactly the parents and the community members that help decide what goes on with our program and where the funding goes, and so they have a voice.
Like
Democracy.
Anytime we hire someone or there's any policy change, it has to go through and be approved by everyone, so parents have a say in that.
You know what I discovered? As soon as I tried to set this appointment up, I called Zachary, better known as Zach,
Yes.
and the first thing you said was, wait, I have other people who'd like to be involved in this or should be involved in this.
Mhm.
And you started bringing people onto the show before I got here just because you
Yeah.
know that everyone has something to contribute equally.
Yes.
You are a good leader.
Thank you. And Chelsey as well.
And you are a good leader.
And
Thank you.
I mean,
And you're a good mentor,
they-
probably.
They and a good leader, but and I mean I'm so new and they have been around Head Start for so long.
Do you know how many people I interview who immediately want to be the only person involved in the conversation?
Yeah, I should have just kicked them out. I
We,
guess.
we
I should've
realize
just-
though that it doesn't matter what your job title is, you have a purpose and you are valuable to this team.
And to each other.
Exactly. And without each other, you're not going to be successful because it is going to take Kama and I working together to be successful. Zach and I,
Yeah.
we have to think of the greater good of these families that we're serving, not only the children, but that entire family. And if we don't all work together, we're not going to help them get to that next phase.
It makes it easy to put like your ego aside,
Very
or
few
you're,
people
like-
can put their ego aside.
I think in this field though, a lot more can.
It's
Passion.
it's a given. It's a
Yeah,
giving
I think-
field, and it's a
right.
nonprofit.
So like we talked about in the classrooms, we have a licensed teacher, a co-teacher, teaching assistant, and an inclusion specialist. Who does what?
Inclusion specialists kind of help. So I don't even know how to really completely dive into it. Everyone in Head Start really focus on the social emotional and all the aspects of like what emotions are, because 3-year-olds, they have messy emotions. We're still learning how to navigate them. Adults have messy emotions, but at this age it's kind of a little more intense, and they're learning how to be little humans in an environment with other little humans, and how to be nice and how to share and how to say please and thank you and what those words look like, how our body looks and how our body feels, and how we're going to deal with things that we don't like. So even though we have all the teachers and the teaching assistant doing those things, they're also teaching a curriculum at the same time. So we have a inclusion specialist that kind of helps when the teachers are busy teaching the other things like your alphabet, your numbers. They're kind of an extra person to support those big emotions with littles, and they kind of scaffold the extra little conversations.
How do you say? What do you do when you scaffold?
You help give them, you prompt them, you give them the words, you ask them the questions that you kind of want them to think about to give you the answers.
Okay, this is me mixed up. Let's say I'm a 3-year-old.
Yep.
It's not much of a leap. And I come in and you're teaching my whole class is learning the alphabet and they're reading a nice little book on ABCs. And I start to cry. I miss my mother. What do you do?
I would probably ask them how they're feeling, or I would say, oh, your face, you look sad. Your face is doing this. And I'd ask, and whatever they say, like say, oh, I miss mommy. Oh, you miss mommy. I miss my mommy sometimes. What do you think we can do? So you're asking those questions. If they don't have the language to reply, you kind of just support.
You can hug.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's always, we have visuals that can kind of walk through that. So if kids need visuals on what they need, we always have stuff for that.
That they can just point out, identify.
And if they're in a very angry mood, you have a lot of rage in children.
Yes.
How do you circumvent that, continue teaching and prepare them for big school?
A lot of our teaching is around emotions. So I'd have to say the first 3 months is pretty much all around emotions, what they look like, what they feel like in your body, and how we can express them. Positively. And then with our peer interactions, we even have like little rule cards like, oh, what do you think we can do? Do you need a timer? Can we share? If there's a conflict and kids are fighting over a toy, we get down on their level and we're kind of right there with them, and they're like, oh, I hear your friend's really upset. Look at their face. How would that make you feel? And a lot of times at this point, we're starting to see kids be like, oh, we used a timer outside. I can use a timer this time. So it really kind of sticks.
Yeah.
So you start seeing them not only modeling it, but they're telling their friends, I don't like that. Next time use my name, don't hit me.
You're empowering the children.
Completely. And they're able to teach their peers the exact same language and how to navigate that. We have safe ways to do things. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to feel like you want to throw things. But we can't do that here. You can go, we have a space with a beanbag. It's like you can go over there and you can take a breath, and we teach them how to breathe. They have little feeling buddies that they can, work things out with, and that inclusion specialist can be right by their side the whole time so they're not doing it alone.
I think that's brilliant.
Emotions are scary, and not all kids can navigate those.
Not all adults can
can't
navigate
do it.
And they're a major obstacle to learning.
Yeah. So.
And when you come in and you're hungry, you get breakfast. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do.
Oh yes,
breakfast,
3 meals a day.
Lunch, snack, and then we have water all the time to drink, and so the kids you don't have to worry about them being like dehydrated or anything like that. So
I was going to say, also that inclusion specialist sometimes can evolve into, if there is someone who's consistently struggling to be a part of the class due to behaviors, that inclusion specialist can sometimes evolve into
that one-on-one support that they would need.
Being a one-on-one person for this kid.
Knowing the family, you can carry it forth at home too.
No matter whatever behaviors or trauma you're having at home, we're going to make a way for you. To feel safe here at least.
Yeah. And we also help advocate that when they move into the school system too.
If you think you qualify for Head Start, or even if you don't, contact these wonderful people. It's just a moving experience to come in here, to know that so many children are given an opportunity to have a better life, as are their families. So I thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching Life is Good.
Yeah. Call us.
See you next week, and call them.
Bye.
Bye.
A pretty little raven at the birdman stand taught him how to do the bump, and it was grand. They started going steady and bless my soul. He out-bopped the buzzard and the Oreo. He rocks in the treetop all the day long, hopping and a-bopping and a-singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, rockin' Robin, tweet, slow rockin' Robin, 'cause we're really gonna rock tonight. Well, the pretty little raven at the birdman stand taught him how to do the bop, and it was grand. They started going steady and bless my soul. He out-bopped the buzzard and the Oreo. He rocks in the treetop all the day long, hopping and a-bopping and a-singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rockin' Robin, rockin' Robin, slow rockin' Robin, 'cause we're really gonna rock tonight.